Hi.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Hello.
to meet you. Hello,
Nice to
hello.
see you again.
Likewise. How
Oh,
are y'all
thanks.
today?
Warm. The lab has no air conditioning and it is hot.
Oh, goodness. Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh, I'm sorry. Thank you for
It
so
happens every summer.
really.
Well, the university wants to save on their electric bill.
Mm, well, geez. Well, I appreciate you sitting through being in a hot lab for this dry run.
Yeah, no
Uh,
worries.
how many others are we expecting?
I don't know if Katie was going to come, and
Oh,
Bailey is traveling. So
yes.
Bailey hopes to still do the real call, but we're going to relay notes to her after this dry run.
Absolutely. Okay. So, well, we're ready to get started. And so at the beginning of a session, well, first, this is recording, so I'll share the recording with you all. But one thing that we will need to do is to actually complete the planning document, because that's how I promote the sessions. I need all the, the details and informations there. I know we didn't go through that this time. I think I asked a few times if someone could complete it, but
So
we can
sorry.
definitely. No worries, no
We've had
worries.
another eruption and things are
Yeah,
crazy. I did
yeah. No,
notice this morning. I went back through like the emails. It was like,
no,
oh no.
no worries. We can work through that after this meeting, or we can schedule it for another time. Or if you want to, especially if you want input from your other team members, we can certainly. We want to have it at least a few weeks before your actual first session, so we can promote it.
Yeah.
And then I use that to craft an introduction that I'll do before we start the session. So I just have a brief one here. So we'll start with this intro, which I will update once I have your session planning information. Welcome to this session of Shadow the Scientist.
So sorry, 1 second. I have to just drop one thing off with someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No worries.
We also had a list of questions, and I don't know if that's more appropriate to ask now before we get started, or if you want to wait till the end.
Absolutely. We can ask those questions now when she gets back. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that.
No worries. Everything's good.
For us to prepare properly, we were hoping you might be able to tell us a little bit more about because we saw in the registration questions like who's your audience and what grade level, and like we don't know. And so do you have a sense of who the audience might be for us? Because that'll kind of decide what we do in the lab.
No, this is going to be a public session.
Okay, that's helpful to know as well.
Yeah, it's a public session unless you want it to be a dedicated session. It can be, and that's when you would choose the audience that you want to invite. So if you're already working with some schools or universities or specific like volcanology classes or something, and you want them to be the audience, have a curated audience, you can do that. But otherwise, it would be generally open to whoever registers.
Yeah, general session is totally fine. We just had an eruption in early June, and so we can actually like walk through exactly what we do with those samples and be like, this is the most recent rock out of Kilauea, and this is, what we work on. So at a sort of very like basic public level of geology understanding and so on.
Perfect.
That I think we can do well.
Yeah, I think that's really fine. Yeah.
Yeah, because we were actually observing I had 3 back-to-back observing sessions at Gemini, and Gemini, Keck, Gemini that week, and we couldn't open because of the particulate count was so high. From
yeah.
Yeah. And it was one night was just gorgeous. And we were like, oh my God, wow, I'm so high. We can't even think about opening the dome.
Dang volcanoes.
Yeah, no. It's wonderful nature in action. So we get to appreciate that. So I know y'all have been busy, so no worries at all. But yes, that would be pretty awesome to talk about if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on that, one of the questions I had is I know it's like follow or shadow a scientist and like we're gonna be like, physically showing this process, but I think it is also helpful to maybe show some images or maybe some intro concepts. Is it typical or is it like allowed to have maybe like a PowerPoint with just a few images to help get them kind of in the mindset of what we're doing and like, have an image of the eruption that happened that we're like, this is where we collected that sample. And now we can go back to the live view and be like, and this is that same sample in our hands, that kind of thing. Is that
Absolutely.
fine?
That sounds
Okay,
brilliant.
cool. Nice.
Great.
And then I only had one other question. It was just how long is it? It's about, I think if I remember right, was it an hour or less than?
Our sessions are really up to the discretion of the hosts.
Okay.
Our sessions are typically 2 hours, sometimes 3, but it just depends on what you want to do. They can be an hour.
Mhm.
It can be 30 minutes if you want it. It's really what best fits what the time that you have and what you'd like to convey.
Cool.
Well, as a group, we had discussed like I would do kind of an intro to like HVO and what we do, and maybe I could do the intro to the recent eruption, and then would pass off to Heather, who would do like from like sample and lab processing, and then she would pass to Bailey up in the SEM lab. She'd be on a separate computer, and they could just swap like who's running the meeting or something, and Bailey could do like, okay, and this is what the data look like when we put these samples in this instrument. And so that's kind of the 3 components we discussed as a group, and I think still would plan to do, and that could be about a 45-minute with time for questions kind of thing.
Perfect. That sounds wonderful. That sounds
Cool.
wonderful.
Right.
Yeah. And then once we do the planning document, so all of that goes in the planning document, so that I'm aware of how you want things to go. And then there's also space for you to say if you want your questions throughout throughout the session, because people will post questions in the chat. So if you want, I can, make sure that I keep track of all the questions so that at the end you can address them all, or we can let people know up front that, hey, you can please post your questions or comments anytime. And then they'll respond when they get a chance to, which is kind of what we do. That's definitely what we do with astronomy when we're in between exposures and things and have downtime. That's when we like take questions. But like for oceanography, we keep our questions till the end because all the scientists are super busy as we're going through the different levels and talking to the different scientists and they're showing us their work. And so we have like 10 minutes at the end and I collect all the questions and give them back to the scientist at the end. So you all can think about what you think would feel best, especially for your first session. And then as you hopefully get more sessions under your belt, you may want to, change it. But certainly for the first one, we want you to feel very comfortable. And if something is more structured, it may be easier to approach.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Any more questions?
No, I think that was all of my clarifying ones. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So questions anytime, feel free to email me, or I can jump on a quick Zoom chat, or I can come down to the office. There's no problem. I'm happy to do that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and begin. Welcome to this session of Shadow the Scientist. My name is Jamaica Marshall, and I'm pleased to serve as the coordinator for the Shadow the Scientist initiative. In this session, we have the privilege of shadowing team members from the Hawaii Volcano Observatory. Hawaii Volcano Observatory, HVO, monitors earthquakes and the active volcanoes in Hawaii, assesses their hazards, issues warnings, and advances scientific understanding to reduce the impact of volcanic eruptions. Communicating the results of their work to the public, emergency managers, and the scientific community is an important aspect of the HVO mission. Here with us are 2 team members to guide us through showcasing what happens to a lava sample after it's collected from processing to analysis. Welcome.
So we do not have our prepped material with us today, but I can like kind of walk through like, okay, this is, I would talk about this and I would take 10 minutes or so. So I guess I would start by introducing myself, right? So, hi, my name is Kendra and I'm a research geologist at HVO. And my specialty in my research is actually to look at rocks and minerals that come from Kilauea's and Mauna Loa's recent eruptions. And so today, my job is to help orient you to our islands, our volcanoes, and the most recent eruption at Kilauea, which occurred relative to today, just a few weeks ago, maybe months ago, depending on when we actually schedule this. And it was the first eruption on Kilauea's southwest rift zone in almost 50 years. So it was a rather exciting event for us. And then I would have like probably a PowerPoint with lots of beautiful pictures and a map and show like, this is the Hawaiian Islands. These are our 2 volcanoes, and this is how frequently they erupt. And then like, this was the June eruption, and here are images of that eruption and what it looked like. And I would take them through, kind of the eruption response. So fulfilling HVO's mission, right, to monitor these eruptions to help reduce risks related to volcanic hazards. And in this instance, as you've already mentioned, we had a lot of volcanic gases. So there was a lot of fog and particulates in the atmosphere that week. So I would like summarize the eruption itself and some of those data. And I'm going to end my intro bit on sort of like, hey, look, this is what the little lava flow looks like. And these are the samples that we picked up in the field. And then I would pass to Heather and she'd be like, this is the sample.
Yeah. And I think it'd be a cool thing. Like we could have like a little, not logo, but like a catchphrase of like, since we introduced HVO as like a broader, like there's seismicity, there's gas, there's the lavas, but today we're like shadowing a petrologist. And what does a petrologist do?
Yeah.
And like focus on like what these samples can tell us and kind of breaking down that, because I think that is something that like the general public doesn't know or isn't as familiar with. And so like we can talk about like hunting for crystals and how the crystals record this entire process that's happening underneath the surface, but tells us these big picture, concepts that are happening that help us, think about forecasting future eruptions. So we can kind of have a slow funnel down to being like, and this is why this tiny crystal that we're about to go through the process of prepping matters. And then I can have like different stations here and be like, we're going to crush the rock now. And I don't know if like, we'll be able to either have another person like hold the laptop or we'll set it up.
I would be your cameraman.
Yeah.
So I do my little intro, which is maybe more slide based.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would walk around with the camera, the computer, and like, I would be your camera person.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good call. So that then we can have like views of like, if I'm like crushing something, they can like see like my hands doing something.
Yeah.
And so we'll go through that process of like, we have a lava rock sample or whatever type of sample, and we're going to crush it. And then we're going to sieve it, which is like sorting it through sizes. And then I think it'd be cool to then step through making what we call is like a mount, and that we then will put into the instrument. And so we can have some images of some of those finished products, and then also like some of the steps like already laid out to show them.
Maybe we can do it like a cooking show, right? Where you're like, put it in the oven and here's the thing. And like, you like have it like pre-made and you're like, all right, we poured the epoxy. Whoop, here's a finished mount and this is what it looks like. Yeah.
I love that.
Like we could stage the lab that way at every step. So they get to see it in process, but then we don't have to spend all the time on each step. And so then you can have like, okay, this is our sieved fraction. We can plug a computer into our microscope and I can point this computer at that computer and it can do the live view of like what she's seeing in the microscope. So we could do that. And so like she could like pick minerals, right? And then instead of having to pick 50 things, she can pick like 3 things. And then she'll be, okay, here's our minerals. And then she can, with this recent eruption, we actually have most of these components already pre-staged in the lab. So it's easy. With a little bit more work, I think we could make it like a cooking show.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And then we would send it over to Bailey, our lab manager, and be like, okay, like you just went through the steps of making all of this. Now we actually analyze it. And there's some really cool imagery there. And really, I think that concept of like, a lot of people just think a rock is a rock. And they're like, no, look at what it really shows us and like how beautiful it actually is. And all this really cool info that we get from it that's super useful. And so kind of go through some of those analyses, and then maybe like one of those final figures you have of like, we already did this, we got this info, and this is like the time scale that told us, you know, this information. So it's kind of a nice like full picture of this process and outcome.
Yeah,
So.
and like I could zip from here up to the SEM lab
Yes.
while you guys make that switch, and Bailey can drive the SEM, and I can again be the camera person, like showing the screens and pointing things out. And then I like your idea for like, you know, this is the final data and this is what we learned from it. Because like, ironically, today we're collecting the real data that we would show at the shadow session. So we'll have some of it pre-collected and like pre-analyzed, and we can just show like we're actually using this in discussion right now at the observatory to better understand what the volcano's doing.
Yeah, because I think it's helpful, like sometimes at the end of those, if you're like, okay, and that's our process, then it's kind of like a fall flat ending. It's nice to have like and this is now like a final product and like the answer of what we're looking at. I think for general public, it's really satisfying to have that.
Yeah,
it's a common question. Yeah.
Oh, it is a common question you get.
I think a lot of people are like, so why does this matter? Or they're like, cool.
Well, what do you do with it?
They're like, that's cool, but like, who cares? Is like in the most polite way, but that's a pretty frequent question. I feel like an outreach that you get, like in a genuine curiosity way. And so it's a nice way to reiterate kind of like the significance behind what we're doing.
That sounds amazing. That sounds wonderful. Yes, that sounds great. I know that it's more work on your part to do the extra prep for it, but that sounds like it'd be an incredibly engaging experience for our participants. It would be it'd be insightful for me because I don't know anything about volcanology at all. It's astronomy, and so this is all super new for me, and I bet especially for people joining us from Hawaii, anywhere, I'm sure, but especially here from the Big Island or any of the islands in Hawaii, they'd be especially interested to see what this process is, because I've never seen it. I have no idea. I know it's valuable to collect the data. No idea, you know,
like why,
or even like, I know it's important, but why is it important again?
Yes, exactly that.
Yes, exactly. What is that telling us? And then to really be able to interact with, you know, volcanologists and scientists who work with this data and help. Aloha!
Hi, Jamika!
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so glad you could join us. Yes.
I don't know if you remember me. I'm Kama. I used to be the president for the UAC club here, for the Astronomy Physics Club.
Oh, I thought your face looked familiar, but I wasn't sure. I mean, okay. So you're in geology now.
Yeah, I'm almost done with my astronomy degree, but I joined geology because I have a goal in life. So
Absolutely. So will you be combining the astronomy and geology?
Yes.
It's a perfect combination.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I love it so far.
Oh, good. I was actually considering doing switching my major around to geology and minoring in space science or something like that, since I already have most of my astronomy things, and I'm currently like doing research on asteroid rotations. And so which is, you know, very rock-based, of course. And so I thought, you know what, I may just switch this around and major in geology. And I'm actually here at UH, and not for that reason, but to do some other work. And every time I'm here, I think about, I think I want to go ahead and switch over to geology and astronomy.
Come join us.
I mean, really, I think I will, honestly, because as I get more into planetary sciences, I really find that studying asteroids and comets and exoplanets, all of those things are really, really appealing, and they're very tangible, you know, and what you all do is very tangible and hands-on. Whereas, you know, when I started my research, it was in evolution of quasars, which I loved, and that was great research.
Yeah.
It was radio data, it was great, but that's it's so far away, it's so intangible. We're really dealing with. So this is just, it's so it's exciting in a different way because I feel like we can make a difference, and to see you all making the difference and to be able to meet you and talk to you about the work that you're doing, which affects all of us here, is absolutely amazing. So I'm thrilled that this is, the approach you're going to take. I'm so glad to hear about your progress and wishing you much success as you wrap up your studies. And I certainly am going to make myself available anytime if you all have questions as you start to bring everything together, especially if you'd like to do, maybe another practice run with Bailey, with Bailey, just to even just practice that handoff. Because I'm doing that with some other teams. We're just gonna jump in real quick. They have 4 members of their team observing on Keck, and so they're in different places. And so you're gonna just practice that transition and who's handling the questions, what that looks like, and somebody's here in the control room and blah, blah, blah. That kind of logistical thing can kind of seem clear before you're like, oh, wait, hold on. And so if you want to do that, I'm at your disposal pretty much whenever. My schedule is flexible.
Great.
Yeah. So we as a group kind of have a nice vision of like how we want to do this or structure this. And also like Kama is working on the June 2023 eruption. And like, if she's around, we might suck her into this as someone working in the lab.
Yes.
We have another intern who's in the back room right now, and she's working on the September 23 eruption. And so we might suck her into this. But anyway, one of our next questions was timing, because we've had some scheduling stuff come up over the summer, and like Bailey, ended up traveling today and couldn't be here. So did you have a deadline of when you wanted to do the actual session?
No, I mean, generally, yes. Hopefully sometime by the end of the year. But besides that, no.
Juggling our group's other commitments, we were kind of hoping that we could pin down a date in like mid-August, maybe. Your pick stuff would be less intense, and hopefully you'd be able to come and participate. And then like Bailey won't have left, you'll be back.
I'll be back. Yeah.
Right. So I think for our planning purposes, because Bailey and I can set up all the different steps in the staging and practice the transition, even if you're on the mainland.
Yeah.
And so we could do like another practice meetup in July, and then we could schedule something for early or mid-August.
Yeah.
And if we get it on our calendar now,
we
can like make sure that we've got like that time. And so that's kind of the time frame we were envisioning, if that works for you.
It absolutely works.
Okay.
Let me just pull up my calendar here. Okay, so
I'm gonna have to go get my calendar too.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, let's do this.
I'm sorry to crash your meeting. I just wanted to say hi.
I'm so glad you joined us. Yes.
Yeah, it's like no apologies.
Yeah, I was gonna say I really don't want to accept that apology at all.
We're pumped you crashed.
Yes, thank you. You're most welcome.
Yeah.
And I'll say, if you have interns who maybe they aren't doing anything like actively contributing, but you'd like for them to participate,
be an extra in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to please do that. And here I'm going to drop a link to the planning document, because we do one of the sections there asks if you're working with any graduate students, because we do pay grad students who work with you in preparation for the session, during the session, or any of that. We pay $25 an hour.
Dang.
No, it was like Abby.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm really excited because this summer, our petrology group, we have 6 awesome women all in this group, and from like sort of in the middle of undergraduate studies all the way through professional scientist. At various levels. So there's 1 current undergrad, 1 post-grad in an internship, and 1 graduate student. Heather's a postdoc. Bailey is another post-grad. And then I find myself the most senior in the group. So we've got this nice range of
different steps.
kick butt women in science at different levels. So I would
love
be
that.
happy to suck everyone in, as, you know, even just like hands doing the crushing and the sieving too.
Yeah.
I think everybody would be interested, and that makes our sort of early or mid-August window good because Abby leaves on the 16th.
Yeah. I was gonna say it'd be because I come back the 3rd. If I'm happy with either of those first 2 weeks of August, if it's the second week, then I can also be a bit more hands-on with a little bit more prep, like if things aren't quite done yet, and I can like do more. As opposed to if it's that first week, I might not be able to help as much with the prep. So I'm happy with it later, but I also
So the lab is closed August 12 to 16 because they're waxing the floors. So
Oh.
for us,
Well,
never
okay.
mind.
for us, we're looking at the week of 5 through 9.
Perfect.
And then if we put it like the 8th or the 9th, that gives you a
Yes.
bit more of a buffer when you get back.
That would be great. Yeah. Does
Okay,
the
so
8th or the 9th work for you?
August 8th through the 9th. Yes, it does. Let me just pull that.
Great.
Pulling up that calendar.
Yeah. Well, I saw it on the board too. And I was like, oh, right, they're waxing in here. We can't. be
Okay,
on
that's a
That would be
Thursday
such a-
or Friday.
The 7th would also be fine.
Yep.
I mean, we have a lot of flexibility that week. Heather's first day back at work will be on the 5th. So not the 5th.
Yeah, ideally not the 5th, but technically 6 through 9 is totally
69
fine.
is better. Okay,
Mhm.
any of those days are going to work for me. I'm going to be actually in my office, my actual office, which is in Silicon Valley though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I'll be gone for most of August, but so I'll be 3 hours ahead, which it's no problem.
We're
But-
happy to do first thing in the morning, just with the East Coast 6-hour time difference. I don't know how broad geography your audience is.
Oh, no worries. No worries. All of our sessions are based on the local time at the facility. And then anybody who wants to join will just need to be okay with the time that works best. That's
Should we do
how that
The
goes.
morning though.
like 10 o'clock,
yeah.
10 on the 8th,
10
Thursday.
a.m. on Thursday the 8th. Yeah, that
like
sounds good. So in the chat, I just dropped your planning document. And so I'm going to share, I'm going to open that and share my screen because all that information goes there. Okay, so when you get a chance, you'll just, fill out everyone's name who's going to be participating. Again, here we definitely pay grad students, but we'll also pay undergraduates and postdocs, on a case-by-case basis. So far, we've never had an issue where we couldn't pay someone. So, so I would put everyone on here.
Well, pressing pause for a minute. Those of us that are formerly federal employees can't accept compensation
Yeah.
without ethical
I didn't-
stuffs. So like Heather and I and Naomi, our other intern, are out because we're federal employees, but and Abby would be candidates for financial support.
Okay. Well, yes, please. I understand that. Thank you for clarifying. Well, we would like to pay you.
Would love to have them give that option.
Okay, well, please put that here. And then, so I'm going to leave the dry run there just because this is the document we'll use for all of your sessions. And I do hope that we'll have more. Let's go ahead and put that in here. It's going to be Thursday. It's going to be August 8th, 2024. It's going to be 10 a.m. That's all right. 10 a.m. HST. And you want to do 45 minutes or round it to an hour?
Just do an hour.
Yeah, I think that's a solid.
Sounds good.
That's like our standard academic 45 minutes with questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Wonderful. And then when you all get a chance to, you'll just, if you could please do, and we can meet together and go through this and do it at the same time. Work through it together, a title and a brief description. I put here one that our ecology group uses, but on our webpage, You can, sorry, I'm editing stuff, actually. Let me just go through here. I didn't mean to do that. You can see our, you can see other examples, our astronomy ones. This is, yeah. You see, and
Cool.
they're different. They're different. But I put the ecology one because I thought that may be a little closer to kind of a good example for what you all are doing. And then an image, just a link to an image. And I do put image credits. So if you have that, that would be amazing. Any background information you'd like to have shared. Yeah, and then any organizations or specific people you would like us to tag or mention when we do the post, since this will be a public session.
Yeah, we could do pipes and UH heligeology, and then the USGS volcanoes Facebook page. We could
There's a lot.
definitely,
Perfect.
Quick clarification here. I assume it's more ideal for us to fill this out sooner rather than later because you advertise it. Is that right? Like you would post up the little blurb and the photo ahead of time, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
You're right. So it'll go on our webpage here. We'll send out, since it's a if it's a dedicated session, which this one is not, but if it was for a specific group, then I would just set up the Zoom session and I would send the link to you all and you send it out to the people that you want to come. But since it's a public session, then yes, it'll be on our webpage. I'll send an email out to everyone who's on our Shadow the Scientist mailing list. It's on all Facebook, Instagram, X. It's going to be on Eventbrite. Since this will be at the beginning of August, I'll also put it in Climb High, HI for Hawaii, because this is a resource for Hawaii teachers to get to see all in one place the different kinds of resources that could be available for their students. And that's the very first week of school. So maybe not, but I want to make sure that it's there. So that'll be the other place that'll be advertised. So yeah.
Okay.
But I don't want you to feel pressured. It's not till August. So, sometime in July, maybe mid-July.
I know. I was like, I can work on it like this week and like while I'm flying.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, your time is appreciated. That's why I want to make sure that you don't feel any pressure to do it right away. I feel like it's best if we get at least 2 weeks of promotion in, and longer courses is always better.
Cool. Thanks.
Yes. And I'll just show you an example of a completed one. And so just everyone's information. They don't have, oh yeah, she did add Christina. Okay, so they do have this is a grad student who's going to be working with them. Just very briefly what you're going to be doing. So they're going to be sharing upcoming observing sessions. We have a specific audience, public plus one of our groups on University of California, Santa Cruz campus, the date and time, title, observing planet formation in action with Keck telescopes, and a brief blurb, images, so these are extra information. So any extra information you give, like links to scientific papers, your website, anything else, all of that's going to go in the Zoom confirmation email that registrants will get, so that they see that there's some background information that they can use to get ready for their shadow experience with you.
We can use volcano watches.
Oh yeah.
We can link to those.
Nice.
I think those would be really amazing. And then let's see. Yep. And that's it. We really try to make anything that we need for promotion or for talking to people about the sessions all here in this one document. And as you have subsequent sessions. The only thing you would want to have to change, maybe you may want to change an image and the date, but we'd like for you to make sure everything is here so that you don't need to change anything unless you'd like to.
Beautiful. Nice.
Yeah, we can definitely get that together in the next week or two.
Mhm.
If you take first stab, I can polish up after.
Yeah.
You're
Um,
amazing.
Did we want to throw a real
tentative?
run through on the calendar with you with like our cooking show style and all of our team members?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that, please. And I will send a calendar invite to, shall I do it to everyone who's on the current calendar invite?
Yeah, and we can
forward it.
forward it to the rest of the group because we need to ask Abby if she wants to participate.
Yeah.
She's
Oh, I
actually
see.
not here to speak for herself, so
Sure. Okay, awesome. Well, I'll make it so that you all can add people to the invite or take people off of the invite, just so that the first session is prominently on your calendar.
yes.
Okay.
Would you be comfortable if we did our actual staged dry run the same week as the real session, just so that they're close together?
Absolutely. That's no
'Cause
problem.
we could do that on the 7th or the 6th, like the day or two prior, to work out any kinks. And I think that would maybe be,
Yeah, because
we'd have the most people around.
Yeah.
And well, she's got to wrap up pipes first, I think, before we take up too much of her
I
time.
think I'm done this week.
Yeah.
Around the Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, any of those days would work well, the 6th or the 7th, whichever you prefer.
Could we actually do Monday the 5th? Would that be okay with you right after you get back?
Yeah.
Is that too close?
Yeah. The only thing is I was like, I won't have time to maybe like come in beforehand as much to like also get myself prepped on like the steps of like that. But if it's later in the day on Monday, I could like, cause I mean, I know what I'm gonna say and like I've done this before, but just like to get there like ahead of time. So if it's just like not first thing in the morning, we could do it later in the day on Monday.
Yeah, we could do like 3:30. I don't know if that's too late for you. That's pushing into the evening.
Not too late at all. Whatever works best for you all is good for me.
Let's do Monday the 5th at 3:30 at the end of the day for us. And we'll call it the practice run, and we will have like the whole cooking show thing ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
We have like volcano aprons. That would be so cute.
We all have HBO shirts though.
We do.
We could all wear our HBO
I figured,
t-shirts.
I figured gotta wear some HBO stuff, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
I do like the volcano apron.
yes. Okay. So August 5th, 3:30 p.m. HST, we'll have the full dress rehearsal.
Great.
Okay.
This will be fun. And that gives us the three of us can work on some of the prep for all the different steps in July while you're away. Cool.
Oh.
Yeah?
Oh, that's so exciting.
I didn't know this was it.
Well, originally, like,
You've made it.
Jamaica's been asking us to do this for a long time and we've just been dragging our feet. So like, it's kind of nice that actually it's while you're here.
Mhm.
Otherwise we would have missed you.
Yeah.
Right. If we'd done it before your internship. So this is good.
Yay. Well,
Cool.
one small request with that as you're doing your prep for those who fit the criterion for the subject matter expert, the grad student, undergrad, or postdoc who is not a federal employee. If you could just keep a rough idea of the hours that are put into as you're doing the slides, all that prep, because we'll pay for all of that.
That's awesome.
Super cool.
No,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate the time. No, thank you. We appreciate you all, and it's certainly a privilege to be able to shadow you and get insights on actually just exactly what does it mean to be a volcanologist in general, geologist, and then looking at petrology specifically, because I just really learned about petrology with oceanography, though, which is slightly different. with what they're doing, and similar because it's, fluid dynamics, but yeah, this is a different kind of fluid, so I'm super interested to see what the similarities and differences are. And before I started working with this crew on the JORDIS resolution, I had because I knew petroglyphs and Petra and those kinds of things, but I had not heard of that term petrology until I was prepping for my first session with this expedition in December. So I learned a whole slew of new vocabulary.
Vocab, yeah.
For me, it's like the doorway to a whole new world. So we definitely want you all to know that we appreciate your time, your effort, and even though we can't pay all of you, please know that there's so much gratitude for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Any other questions?
Nope. I think we've got our homework, and we'll circle back in the beginning of August.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. So look out today or tomorrow for those 2 calendar invites for the full dress rehearsal, August 5th at 3:30 p.m. HST, and then your first actual session on the 8th at 10 a.m.
Yeah. And then real quick, I did pull up in a previous email, you had sent the link to the planning document. That's the live document that we should be filling out, correct? For like all the keep well on with that one. Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure I'm filling out the right version of it. So yeah.
Absolutely. Let me just, are you on it right now?
I think I am, unless I closed out. I pulled it up right before this meeting. Yes, I'm on it right now.
Yes. Okay, I see you. Your icon just popped up. Let me just actually close this, and then let's try to, there it is. Okay, yeah, there's your icon. There you are. This is the correct planning document.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. Nice. That was just we'll try to get that filled out in the next 2 weeks or so, which will still be plenty of time to be like a 2-week advance. And hopefully that'll be great to get some advertisements out there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely will. If you all, in between now and the practice run, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me. There's no problem. I can easily jump on a quick Zoom chat, or I can, just come down to the office there in Hilo, because I pass by it all the time. So if that's more convenient,
That's awesome
to be there, in person. So whatever works best for you all. Okay.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. And as soon as I end this, this recording will process, and as soon as it's done, I will, so I'm going to upload it to our YouTube channel, but it'll be unlisted just so it has a place to live. I'm actually having quite a few new, collaborators, hosts on the host end, who are wanting to have these practice runs. And so now I'm just kind of keeping them there so they have a place to live. I'll do a little bit of light editing, maybe take out some of that chatter we had at the very beginning, but it'll just live there. And of course, it's only accessible with the link. So I will send you the link to it, and please share it with as many people as you'd like.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week. Much success to you, my friend. All right. And I will see you all on August 5th. All right.
Yay,
Thank
sounds
you.
great.
Bye.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Aw.